Today I'm going to show you how to paint a cute watercolour kitty cat in a really game-changing way. This video is for everyone who loves watercolour painting or loves our feline friends. I'll demonstrate a whimsical and fun technique which will help you create a painting ideal as a little gift or a greetings card for any cat lover. No worries about drawing. You can download the sketch of this cat and many others from our website, dianeantone.com. So let's get started on the fun. I've drawn out the cat. This is what he's going to look like, but he'll be completely different because I'm using different colours. And first thing I'm going to do is take a reasonably biggish kind of brush and I'm going to wet the whole area of the cat. Now, this sketch, if you're not too happy about sketching yourself, I'm trying to find my best brush for this. Where's it gone? If you're not too happy about sketching, then you can find all of our paintings that have sketches. They're all on our website, dianeantone.com, and you can download them almost for free. Go and have a look at the website and find out what I mean by that. So I'm going to, first of all, paint the whole of the body of the cat in water. Okay, the whole of the body of the cat in water. That's the easy bit, isn't it? You don't have to worry too much about details here. This is not a difficult painting and I think you'll find it's fun. So we'll just go over the whole thing with a medium-sized to large brush, just following the lines that you've either drawn or traced on your cold press watercolour paper. So we'll do it like that, okay? And it just needs a second or two to sort of blend in, soak in a little bit. So while that's happening, I've drawn a few flowers around and about. You don't have to do that. This one that I did earlier, I didn't do any because it was no room on the paper really. So that's that. And now we're going to start with the colours. I've picked up a size 5 and I'm not sure if that's, I don't know if that's quite the right size. So I might, it's funny, I've got everything organised here and I can never find what I'm looking for. Oh, that'll do. I quite like this Princeton Aqua Elite brush. If you're in the market for new brushes, and who isn't, the Princeton Aqua Elite is my favourite, so I can recommend that. So let's have a look at my paints here. What we're going to do is we're going to start off with the darkest colour, which is going to be this dark purple. I'm just going to pick up a bit of that and I'm going to come into the cat and drop that around the outside edge. And I'm not brushing the colour in, I'm just dropping it in. And this requires a little bit of self-control because it's very much in our human nature to want to smooth things out. But this technique, you don't do that. You just drop it in. So then I'm going to pick up a different colour. The thing with this kind of painting is you never really know quite how it's going to turn out. So you just have to go, as I very often say, completely with the flow. But that's the fun of it. So you can hear my dogs barking. They don't like the neighbours. I don't know why. Perfectly nice neighbours. So you saw me just there try to break into a stroking thing. And no, don't do that, just dab. It will all blend in the end. So we're going to put the colours in various different places. And it doesn't matter if you don't think they go together, because they will probably move around quite a bit. Need a bit more water there. Let's have a little bit of the buff titanium as well. We can sort of mix that in, just dibby-dabby. I think there must be somebody out front. What colour haven't we used? We haven't used the green gold. That we definitely need. And this one here is a rose colour. Just have a little bit of faith in yourself when you're doing this. Just trust the watercolour. I'm going to put his tail in now, or her. And once this is dry, we'll embellish it with some mark making. Okay, having now done that, add a little bit more turquoise to the mauve because I'm not quite sure about that purple. Unmixed, it's a bit powerful, but mix it with some turquoise and you get quite a nice soft grey. This is a very, very good exercise in colour mixing. A little bit of control, but mostly serendipity. Okay, and then I'm going to put in some bits of water to make the whole thing quite wet and a lot of movement. And then we will pick the whole thing up and move it around. This is a tried and tested system that has been used over the years by most artists to get a nice blend of colours. If that's what you're looking for, you can send some up his tail. Look, sending up the tail there. Okay, so if you get to the point where you think you need to lift a little bit out, you can use what we call a thirsty brush, which is a brush that has been washed out and then dried on a cloth, and you can just go in and it acts like a little vacuum and you can take up any surplus that you feel you don't want to leave. You can lift the colour a little bit so his paws and legs become a little bit lighter like that. Paint will tend to run back in, but that doesn't really matter. And I'm just going to lighten up his eyes a little bit. It's like unpainting, right? We're unpainting the picture. But just taking out a little bit of the extra water that we just put in so that we can control what we have and you can make it look the way you want it to look. So we've got areas of different colours. I'm going to bring the blue into this area here a bit. So he's a bit more evenly coloured. Make his nose and mouth a little bit lighter. I'm not going to touch that. That looks quite nice. And what we have to do now is let it dry of its own accord. While it's doing that, I'll probably have a go at painting some of the leaves and things around and about. So let me see, what have we got to make green with? I've got this green here. And add a little bit of turquoise to that, perhaps. Makes a nice bright green. I bet you didn't expect that. I know I didn't. Add a little bit more turquoise, make a slightly different colour. Drop some of that in. These are very intense paints, these Jackmans. Very nice. I think probably I might eventually pop in quite a lot more leaves and flowers, but I'm just doing these ones to show you how I would do it. Okay. Yeah, actually I shouldn't have washed my brush off there because I want to do this. I'm being rather careful because I don't want the colours to meet and mix. You don't always want things to mix and mingle, do you? Okay, and I make that into a kind of orangey colour with a bit of this green gold and the red. Let me paint this one here. These aren't gouache paints, by the way, although that looks fairly gouachy, but it's not. They're pure watercolour. Oh, I could go upstairs and paint the bird. Let's put him in a nice turquoise, nice pure turquoise colour. I'll do his legs and his beak later. With a pen, probably. Okay, and that's a very good turquoise. With this green gold, the turquoise does definitely make a very nice bright green. And you can vary it by adding a little bit of something else to make it more soft and subtle if you want, so you get different leaves. Different colour for the stem, perhaps, just subtly different. I've said this many times, but I had a teacher once who said, always change the colour on your brush, even if only by a little, when you refill. When you refill your brush, don't pick up the same colour that you had in your brush before. And I think that if you want a painting that's got variety in it, then, you know, something that looks lively and bright, that's quite good advice. It's actually really good advice for landscape painters too. Now I'm going to try mixing the green gold with a little bit of the red. Oh, we get a lovely bright chestnut colour there. Look at that. Didn't really expect that. Wow. And so beside it, we'll put another purple flower here. He's drying, he's getting there. What I want to do now, before he dries completely, is I'm going to put in some metallic colours. So I'm using, as I said, the MAB. No, I didn't say that yet. I'm going to say that at the end. I'm using the MAB colours here, and we're going to pick up sort of colours that are sympathetic to what's on the page. So this is kind of shimmery, really bright shimmery reddish colour. So I'm putting that on top of the pinky purple colour. We put a little bit down here, just dabbing it in. This is going to make this a sparkly cat. And then we'll have a little bit of the turquoise. I did pre-wet this, So it's quite runny, and that's good. That's exactly what we wanted. I'll put the turquoise up here. And put some of it here too, perhaps. And we've got a blue. So we put that on top of the blue. A bit more of the pink. If you've ever wondered what to do with your sparkly colours, this is one thing that you can do with them. If you've got some metallics, there's lots of sets out there, I'm sure. You know, there are lots of different ones that people will have. So in the middle here, I'm going to put some of this, which is kind of beige. And maybe a touch of one of these golds, perhaps on his tail. And down here, perhaps, maybe on the feet. Okay, so now that's just going to sit and dry. I'll probably put the hairdryer on it in a minute, and we'll just finish off the flowers. So back to the turquoise with the green gold. If you don't mix the paint too thoroughly, you'll get a nice variable leaf, you know, with the two colours separate. If you don't mix it too thoroughly, which I would recommend. Press down like that and you get a mixture. And again, as it like that, that's very clear. And as it dries, they will blend more together because it's watercolour. It's one of the differences between gouache and watercolour is the predisposition that watercolour has to blend with itself, which gouache doesn't have so much because it's got the chalk in it, which makes it opaque. Okay, so we'll put some pink, pale pink. I call it dusty rose, but it's quite a dark pink. But that's okay. So we put these flowers in here. Okay, I'm going to get the hairdryer now. So while the painting's being dried, I'll just talk to you briefly about the materials I've been using today. I decided to opt for my Jackman's paints today, so I'm just going to squeeze out a little bit into each section of this palette of Dusty Rose, Cobalt Teal, which is a very pretty blue, a little bit too much medium in there, but it doesn't matter. We'll use the bit where it isn't. That won't happen again. I'm going to put out some green gold, which I'm not sure about this colour yet. I haven't used it much, but we'll see how that goes. And you can use any paints you like. I'm just showing you here which ones I used for this painting. This is Quinacridone Violet, which is always a good colour. And then I've got Buff Titanium, which is a neutral, creamy colour. And I haven't used that before for this kind of painting. So we'll pop those away. And also my other materials will be some watercolour paper. This is cold press, Meeden 100% cotton. I've got two brushes here. One is a size 5 and one is a size 3. Round, synthetic nylon brushes. I've got a gold pen, a white pen. These are both gel pens. I've got a Posca Uni white marker type pen here, this kind of thing. I don't know if you can see that. That makes a nice white dot when it's feeling in a good mood. And obviously I've got my shimmery colours here. I've got some different colours of shimmery and some golds. And this is by Mab handmade, and you can find her on Etsy. And the information about all these things is in the description below. So that's what we use for this tutorial. You might want to erase your pencil marks if you've used a pencil to draw your sketch. At this point, it's always clarifies things a little bit if you can get rid of some of the pencil. But sometimes I leave the pencil marks, but I don't know, not today perhaps. And oh yeah, here it is. I always use a very cheap shaving brush to brush off my little bits of eraser that are left behind. So now what we're going to do is we're going to paint some. I'm going to use a very small brush for this, I think. I'll see how it goes. I might need to go up one. I'm going to paint some flowers on top of the cat. And try out different colours perhaps. Maybe we'll go for the red. I think I'd put a little bit too much paint on that particular petal, so I'm just going to lift a little bit of it off. Again, using the thirsty brush method. Just even that out a little bit, make this one perhaps a little bit bigger, a little bit more wonky, because we like wonky, don't we? This one, make it a little bit bigger too. Okay, and then perhaps we'll have another one over here in green. And I'm going to mix some purple and green gold to make a dark colour. And we'll use that to do some of the little details, like the little toenails and so on. I'm going to do his nose, little heart-shaped nose like that. And then we'll just do two. Don't make the nose too big, Diane. And the eyes. Put black pupils in later. Make them a bit blacker with the pen, but I just wanted to give him some kind of, personality. And a bit more of that greeny gold colour, I think. Just come down, outline his feet. Not sure if it's a girl or a boy. I think probably a boy, judging by the colour that he's turned out. I'll just colour the inside of his ears a little bit. And I shall find a pen somewhere here. And let's, around his eyes, her eyes, put back in the little eyebrows, put the legs of the bird in, and his beak and eye. Okay, and next thing, what we want to do is to find our white pen. I'm going to try the Posca. Now, you've seen me do this before, and it's not a completely original idea. Nor is it the first time I've complained about my pen. I think I might try a different one. People go on about the Posca pens being so good, but I'm not so sure. They don't work for me. This is probably the best one I've had so far. It's a Mitsubishi Signo. So I'm just giving, it's become a girl now. It has a pearl necklace. Very light. And what I would like to do, I'm not sure if it's going to work. No, I'm going to try it with the brush and some white gouache. Because, oh, I've got some here. Let's see if I can do it with a brush and paint. Squeeze out a little bit more. You can see how long a tube of this would last. It's about $11, I think. It's not quite as neat. You have to practice. But you can do it. Yeah, that's working. Yeah, well, I think I've become a reconvert of white gouache for painting my details rather than a pen. I just got so fed up with those pens. I don't know, I don't think they're quite as good as they used to be. Maybe that's what the problem is, I don't know. I'm just really trying it out at the moment, using the brush instead. Let's put a beige flower up here. It's not going to show, is it? I have to make it a bit pinker. Now at this point you could, if you wanted to, come in with a pen and do a lot of outlining. That would be an option. Or you could, I don't know, there's probably lots of things that you can think about doing that I can't think about, can't think of, rather. But it's a good one to play with. Not 100% happy with this particular flower here. I'm going to do something to it, which I often do to my work when I'm not happy. I'm going to wet it, and then I'm going to find a piece of tissue paper. So if you ever feel that one of your embellishments has got a bit too big for its boots, give it a shock, wet it down, and then come in with the tissue paper and lift some of that paint off. And that will give you more of a vintage effect. If you know what I mean, you know, faded, a bit like us. I'm going to do that with all of them. Make them a little bit lighter. It'll always work, lifting off like this. A lot of lifting off going on at the moment in painting, you can see. And of course, I don't know if you're aware of it, but a lot of people, when they write these books, they do a painting, and then it's kind of the known, I don't know, you might know this, you might not, but it is an accepted fact that an artist who's writing a book will do a painting and then put it into Procreate, and what they call tidying it up, which basically means digitizing it, taking out all the mistakes, changing some of the colors, removing parts of the elements of the painting that haven't quite worked, moving parts of it around so that it's in a better place, making it basically a much better painting. And you can do that, of course. You could do that in real life, but I think these days it's mostly done digitally. So what you see in a book might have been in a paint. What's that flashing light? Might have been a real painting originally, but it's probably had a lot of experiences. Oh, it's the birds. It's the birds flying over, because we've got skylights, and we've got a load of crows here at the moment, and they're flying over and putting shade flashing into the studio. So right, I'm just going to. Oh God, that's quite distracting, actually. Could we tell them to stop it? Anyway, I'm going to stop in a minute because I've probably had enough of this painting for one day. I hope you will give it a go. You can put lots more embellishments on. Actually, before I do stop, I'm going to wind up quite yet. I'm just going to pick up a little bit more green and put some leaves in here in this green gold colour. Turns out the green gold, somebody said they really hated that colour when they reviewed these paints, but I'm not quite sure why, because I think it's quite a useful colour. Yeah, I do need a bit more white on it, so let's pick up a bit more white gouache and put some more of these. I'm sure you can hear the crows in the background. Every now and again there's a big bang goes off in the distance that sounds like either a car accident or a gun or I don't know what else it might sound like, but it's a big bang and it's just the bird scarer. I'm going to go and scare those birds myself in a minute. These ones I'm doing in the buff titanium, which I think is a pretty much a gouache type, because it obviously has got filler in it. It's obviously got chalk in it. Very strange having those flashing lights. It's going to make me have a migraine if I'm not careful. Right, now what I have forgotten, or haven't really forgotten, not completely forgotten. First of all, this little bird wants a wing. So we give him a wing. And secondly, our cat does not have any whiskers. So we're going to take a pen and give him some, or her, some freckles there where the whiskers come out. And I am going to attempt to draw straight lines. There we are. Just improve her face a little bit. Right, well, I think that's going to have to do. And I hope you enjoyed that. I would probably put more flowers and things around it to make it look a bit prettier, but it's a good idea, isn't it? And I think if you have a go at that, manipulating the paint on the cat like I do there. If you use hot press paper, by the way, it works slightly differently, so that might be worth experimenting with as well. So I'll say goodbye for now, and I'll see you again soon. Give it a try. Let me know in the comments below how you found it. So I'll see you soon. Bye for now, everybody. Bye bye.